Welcome to the Back to Bejeweled podcast, where Giles' screen changes almost every time and I stay perfectly the same. I'm your host, Liebman121, and Shantae is fantastic.
And I'm Giozak. Please play Bug Fables.
Hello, guys. What is up? We're back for another Bejeweled podcast. Today's episode 7, where we are going to be talking a lot of stuff. Firstly, E3 is coming up at the time of recording this in 2 hours. 2 hours time, I say? Is it 2 hours?
Maybe. I haven't been paying attention to that.
I believe it's actually midnight my time, so it's actually 2 hours
Okay.
time, legit. So by the time
Yeah.
this ends, E3 has started. But we'll be discussing our hopes and predictions on that matter, and what we hope to get from that. Other than that, Sonic Colors Ultimate did release. We're going to discuss about that as well. Hashtag Dragon Quest 35 and our experiences with Dragon Quest. And most importantly, we have our own topics as well that we are going to discuss today. So anyways, if you guys are hyped for another Bejeweled podcast, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more content, follow this guy on YouTube and Twitter and his Twitch, and ring the bell to get notified of any upload we make on the channel. Last Bejeweled podcast on the card up here. Anyways, without further ado, I think it's time we finally discuss, shall we?
I'm sure.
Let's go. So right out the gate, as I mentioned, E3, obvious pick for discussion. It's kind of crazy finally we have an actual convention, right?
Yeah, after it didn't happen last year.
It's good to see they finally
at
come
least in
back with
person.
this. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
indeed. So first out the gate, oh boy, if I can just remember the list of companies that come out. Is it Microsoft first or Sony first?
Like I said, I haven't been paying attention to that.
Yay! We have come prepared clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see here. There it is. But yeah, nonetheless, honestly, I myself am also very excited. Like most of the world for E3. I'll admit that I've never actually watched fully all of the presentations. I keep saying conventions. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just thinking more of PAX on the lines of PAX. But I myself haven't really been paying much attention unless it's about Nintendo. But I'm kind of glad to see they've returned with the E3 again.
Yeah. I have the...
Yeah, you got the schedule. I also got the schedule here.
Okay, if you already have it, then I won't bother copying it.
So, I mean, June 12th is Ubisoft.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know, possible new Rayman game. They kept porting and porting and porting. Will they finally make a new one?
Mm-hmm. We'll see. I'm pretty sure
Since the recent Rayman Legends, how long has it been?
Since Rayman Legends.
Yeah.
I'm the second time that I'm Googling something.
It's probably like 7 years, right? I think.
2013.
Well, 8
from
years.
what I'm seeing.
Yeah. I mean, they had to.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotta happen soon, honestly. Otherwise, the port's just gonna lose like flair.
Yeah. Although, sorry.
Okay.
I mean, speaking of sequels, the thing that I mentioned to you that I just found out before we went live, I guess if people don't want to risk spoiling, hearing a spoiler, then I guess go away. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of...
Go away! Oh, great job, Tess.
Yeah. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope was kinda just... All I saw was just a tweet from a random account that I followed, and I googled it, and yeah, it's a thing, so it's probably gonna be talked about in Ubisoft's presentation, because I'm pretty sure that is when the first Mario plus Rabbids was announced. Um, that was in Ubisoft's 2017 presentation or 2018,
Sounds
one of
about
the
right.
two.
Sounds about right, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's when Miyamoto came on stage with a replica of one of the guns from the game. So that's probably when they're gonna announce it. So it's looking at the schedule. Yeah, that's almost assuredly either gonna be today or it's gonna be saved for Nintendo's presentation.
Yeah.
At the very least.
So either if in the coming Ubisoft presentation we see a Japanese guy all of a sudden, then we could get hyped.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not just Japanese, but you get the picture.
Yeah.
Uh, Other than that, it's just Gearbox Year 3, which is not really interested. And then June 13 will be Xbox and Bethesda. And I know for a fact Tom Fox did mention it in a video where he's hoping for Elder Scrolls 6. Because if
Hmm.
you think about it, Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim came out in 2011, I believe. So it's pretty much been almost 10 years
Yeah.
since, and the next one's gonna be coming soon, if not this year or next year.
Yeah. Yeah. I've I've had a decade to play Skyrim. I've never played Skyrim, but I should get on playing Skyrim. But I don't think I have the time right now to play Skyrim.
I mean, to be fair, it's such an open world game. It's to the point where sometimes you can't really find the time to play it.
Yeah, although I mean if I get it on Switch, then that lets me play it wherever. So,
Yeah,
that's kind of why I've often repurchased games on Switch that I already got on Steam, is so then I have it portably.
hmm, that's kind of cool. I mean, for me, I'll admit to not really liking like these kind of open world games. So when I hear Skyrim or Fallout 4, I'm just like, I'm not too sure how to carry on the
Yeah.
conversation. It's hard for me to do, honestly, because it's one of those things where I'm just bound as 100% completionist. I love 100% thing games, to where I look at Skyrim and Fallout 4 like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, if if you don't have the time for them, they're just they will become a part-time job, if not a full-time job
Full
to complete.
part-time job. Next Let's Play confirmed, Skyrim. It's still like I still am interested to see whether they will do it. And also if they're going to do other games. One thing, hopefully they're going to make a good Fallout game, considering what happened to 76.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never played well, I mean, I've probably played like 20 minutes of Fallout 3 on one of my siblings' PS3, PS3s. Um, but yeah,
Let's know your
I've
sister has
never.
multiple PS3s.
Yeah, I mean, two of my brothers at one point or another did have their own PS3s.
Wow.
Um, for those who don't know, I have four older brothers and an older sister. Uh, yeah. um, yeah, I. That's like one of the many series that I just have yet to play for myself really ever. But yeah, I'm kind of the same thing as you, in the sense that like I want to 100% at least a good amount of games that I play. Like last year I I 100%ed Origami King, excuse me. Um although except for like two little challenges, but I'm not doing those right now. But yeah, it's just something that is you either just don't get why people 100% games, or you can't help but 100% games.
Yeah, it's definitely a feeling that I can't shake off, and I mean it's like it's a flaw definitely, where in the sense that you can't really appreciate big games just because of it. But I'm trying to fix that honestly. I'm trying to appreciate these kind of
Yeah,
games a lot more.
yeah. That's why I'm at some point I'm just gonna go back and at the very least do all the shrines in Breath of the Wild, get enough Korok seeds to expand my inventory to the max, and then just do all of the stuff relating to the DLC. I'm not getting all the Korok seeds.
You sure?
Positive. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Again, I mean, here's a funny thing. We're actually going to be discussing about that later on in this podcast, but it's one of those
Oh
things
yeah.
where we're seeing like these kind of games. You want to 100% let alone play sometimes because you don't get that feeling that if you can't complete it fully, you shouldn't play. It's not worth it.
Right.
Which is not really the best
Right.
mindset to have, admittedly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways,
It's yeah.
next thing is no, is Square Enix. The presentation
Hmm.
afterwards. That's actually legit after the Xbox presentation.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 15, 16, excuse me. Is it 15 or 16 that's next?
I don't quite know. Again, something that I don't really pay attention
I
to.
believe it should be 16, but then again, that's way too early. I think it's way too early for them to announce such a thing. Yet, they probably have some other stuff in line for us, which probably is another like, RPG or something like that. Although, it might be funny, a new Fortune Street
Hmm.
game. Someone
Yeah,
who
I
has
mean,
been, who has someone who has actually have been doing quite a few Fortune Street boards on my channel. Card up here,
mhm.
please. It's one of those things where like I honestly want a new Fortress Street game on another console, especially please Switch, please do it.
Yeah, yeah. Wasn't the one on the Wii the last one that was made, or am I missing
Well, Nintendo console,
one?
yes. If you talk about consoles in general, there is one game for the PS4, which included Final
Okay,
Fantasy and Dragon Quest characters.
gotcha. Okay. So yeah, in terms of Fortune Street on Nintendo consoles, it's been forever.
Has been forever. I honestly just hope that they could release a game like that. That'll just make me happy. Then at least I can say I can own a Fortress
Mhm.
Street game for myself.
Yeah, yeah. Although, I mean, I've watched a good amount of Fortune Street on the Runaway Guys, and I still don't quite understand the game.
I might
It,
try to get
it's
you
just,
into the game honestly one day if I get the chance to have Fortress 3 on my game on my thing.
hmm
Uh, anyways, June 14 doesn't have actually have much except Capcom, and then also Indie Showcase. I mean, Indie Showcases they always are quite fun when you see like some new concepts on games that we may not see ever from Nintendo or any kind of company.
yeah, like Bug Fables.
Well, I've seen Bug Fables recently.
It's just better Paper Mario. It- and I'm not alone in that thought. Other people have said that it's basically like classic Paper Mario, but better.
Hmm. I mean, it's nice. I mean, that's an interesting like way to put it.
hmm
And then of course Tuesday, June 15, there's a Nintendo Direct and Nintendo Treehouse. I mean, there's just so many things we could go with this.
Yeah.
Let it all pour in. For those inside, also let it all pour in.
I've been trying to not really like hype myself up for the Nintendo presentation, but I mean, it's Nintendo. Really, anything could happen. At the very least, I see them showing off a bit more stuff about Splatoon 3 and Breath of the Wild 2, because those are
True.
already announced.
True. Actually, now that you mention it, I forgot that Breath of the Wild 2 was announced last time.
Yeah, it's been announced for like 2 years, I think.
2 years? Was
2
it
years.
2019 that they announced it? Huh.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I must have had my dates wrong because I honestly thought it was last year that they announced it. Huh.
Nope. Nope. Uh, yeah, I'm pretty confident that they're gonna show off information about that. Um, it might be a holiday release if it's coming out this year. If not, I see it coming out around March of next year, which would actually be pretty, I guess, poignant because Breath of the Wild 1 came out March 2017. So 18, 19, 5 years after the first one.
That's a long wow. The thing also, now that we mention it, that Zelda game would have a sequel. Have they ever done that? Besides technically Oracle Ages and Oracle Seasons.
Um, I mean, would Majora's Mask to Ocarina of Time be considered?
I guess it's a bit loose, but I guess I can categorize that as a sequel.
Yeah.
Still though, like the fact that we're seeing this kind of thing is quite hype. Um, you did say
Mm-hmm.
about Splatoon 3, which I can't wait to see the details. If it ends up being quite decent, I might actually buy the game. Because if there's something about
Mm-hmm.
Splatoon 1 and 2 that the reason why I didn't get them is because of the fact that I was too late.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt as though that if I were to join the scene at the time, I would be way too underleveled slash underexperienced compared to the rest of the players. Then I feel as though it would be like a burden, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I got Splatoon 2 uh a year and 4 months, I'm pretty sure, after it came out. And I mean, I completely um I 1000%ed both single player campaigns. That's the technical term in the game for um beating every stage with every alternate weapon for
Also,
each
all the
stage.
amiibo challenges, basically.
Um I the amiibo challenges were only a thing in Splatoon 1, I'm pretty sure. There's no amiibo challenges in Splatoon 2.
Oh,
Um yeah, I I did that with Splatoon 2, played the multiplayer mode a bit, and I really haven't touched it since because yeah, it just feels like I would have to sit down and study for hours on how to play it competently compared to other people.
yeah.
And especially at the time when I initially got it, I was just not in a great like headspace to do that.
Yeah,
It
understandable, yeah.
was yeah.
Again, like the common thing is that the game has been out so long. There's so many very experienced people. There's no point trying to join in and try and be the best when there's already like the best technically. With a new game like Splatoon 3, there's a chance for us to be able to be on the same level as those who are well versed with Splatoon 1 and 2, and be able
Mhm.
to possibly get on their league basically and show our stuff to us before they take over the spotlight.
Yeah. Yeah, it's if it's gonna be like the first two Splatoon games, then there's gonna be a global test fire demo that'll come out a few months before the game releases to where everyone can try out the multiplayer mode for free.
I might actually finally try that for once.
Mm-hmm.
I saw some footage of it. I was like, oh, what's this? And then I found out about like what it's supposed to be, and it sounds very cool and a very cool idea to try and get people into Splatoon.
Yeah, yeah, it is probably one of the things that helped, especially before the first game came out, to get people interested because you know you hear about how you can try out the game basically for free for a little bit.
Yeah,
So why not?
true. Well, they still
Mm-hmm.
like get excited, like, wait a second, what's this?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just exciting to see like what could come out. I mean, we know that Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3 and Breath of the Wild 2 is obvious, but other things I'd like to see. Firstly, and I think that this I can speak for many other people, the next Smash character.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's almost assuredly gonna happen because it's been a little bit since the last one came out. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, what would we already have on the roster? We had oh boy, I can just remember myself.
A lot of characters.
I mean,
Let's just say a lot.
Pyra, oh boy, I'm trying to remember myself. Well, Google time again.
I was about to say, let me boot up my Switch so I can.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you also could do that. Smash Pass 2. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, Min Min from ARMS, Steve, hang on. Yeah, Steve and Alex from
Minecraft.
Minecraft, Sephiroth from Final Fantasy 7, and then of course Pyramid for recently was Lake Chronicles 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what next? If anything, if they were to announce Mario Rabbids, possibly a rabbit, but that's like very far fetched, right?
Uh, yeah, I mean, at this point, really anything is on the table.
I mean, no, my phone and my laptop on my table. What are you talking about? Never mind. Anyways, but yeah, it is true. Like, there's so many characters that could be their like actual characters. I mean, we have seen a lot of like made like trailers for these characters, but honestly, some of them could really happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what if you were to pick a character that you want to be in Smash? What would it be? Or who would it be?
Oh, if I had to pick a character that I want in Smash that isn't already in Smash, it would probably either have to be Shovel Knight or Shantae.
Ooh, funny that you say Shantae, honestly, because that was actually my
Mm-hmm.
first. That was also one of the characters I wanted to see in. My question is, what would
Yeah.
be her final Smash?
Yeah, I haven't played enough of the Shantae games to really know what could be used as her final Smash, but I mean she does have transformations in a lot of the games, so
Yeah, I mean,
something
it'd be
something with
funny.
that.
It'd be funny if like the way that if Shantae was in the game, the way that you're supposed to transform is like quick fire rapid like button inputs. Because for some, as I'm playing like Splatoon, sorry, excuse me, Shantae 1, um, what I do to transform is basically like press buttons in rhythm to transform into like
Hmm.
characters like a monkey, an elephant, a spider. But considering that it's a fast-paced game in Smash, I feel as though if they could make the button inputs faster to make the
Hmm.
transformations faster, I feel as though he could be very viable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that'll be an interesting way to play, honestly. Just different animals representing different like ways, like defensive wise, offensive wise. Fingers crossed they could put like all the
Yeah.
weapons that each of the transformation has.
Hmm. That it kind of vaguely reminds me of Shulk and how you can choose the different Monado arts.
Yeah,
Like
that.
very like vague vibe, but kind of similar that you can change on the fly.
Yeah. Maybe I should not think about it. Maybe that would be simpler instead of having to do key combinations.
Yeah.
Because like if you look at the Dragon Quest hero, at least for what they did with the hero, how to like use certain skills, it's just like a menu pop out, you choose the skill you want, then you use.
Yeah.
So maybe if they could do something similar and simple like that, I feel like Shantae could be a viable option.
Yeah, yeah, but as as we've historically seen, people that get their hopes up for Smash reveals will ultimately be disappointed. So,
I mean, I honestly don't care what character comes out, but it was just the interest of how it's just I just want to see how others react. Basically,
hmm
that's what I live for.
yeah, yeah. I sidetrack, but I I still find enjoyment from the people who were legitimately salty about Steve's reveal
Oh, I mean,
because there were people who were legitimately upset about that, but I mean it Minecraft is the best selling game of all time. Why wouldn't they put him in Smash?
and for those wondering if we're talking nonsense, it's actually statistically true. Minecraft is the most sold game in all of history.
Yeah, yeah, if you're um uh, keeping yeah, if you're counting every like I think they track it like they did um Tetris, where it's like all versions of the game are counted as one.
Yep.
Which I mean for Tetris is a little weird, but whatever.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where I feel like any character you're just gonna get some highs, you're gonna get some lows from like reactions. But overall, I would just want to see how they play. That will interest me as to whether it can become a good character in a competitive scene.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course, it's quite funny just to see like very overhyped slash overreactive reactions. But all the more
hmm
I'm curious to see how the character will play in itself.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, my other hope,
And
my other hope for a Smash character, any Sonic character, please.
yeah.
I'm still
Yeah,
holding
we
up for
only have
hope. I'm still
Sonic.
hoping that they will do it, especially with Sonic Colors Ultimate coming up.
hmm
Like that would be icing on the cake
Yeah.
if they could just allow another Sonic character to come into the fray.
hmm Yeah, because right now it's only Sonic and that's it.
And for those wondering if you think about it, DK did they come fighting guard their boy K. Rule, King K. Rule. Samus finally got his her enemy Ridley into the list. Ness got Lucas back. Um, Shock finally got Pyra Mithra. I want Sonic to have his another character to battle with him as well.
hmm
That would be so cool, and honestly, it would be so fitting with Sonic Colors Ultimate coming.
Yeah.
See, it's overdue that they finally bring back a Sonic character, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with the um history at least back in the 90s of Sega versus Nintendo
That too, yeah.
and how um hype Sonic's initial inclusion in Brawl was.
Yeah,
So,
sounds about right,
even
honestly.
though even though I wasn't, aware of um a lot of gaming stuff at the time because I think I think Brawl came out in 2008. Um I at that time I didn't even own any of my own like Nintendo systems until like the end of that year when I got my DS Lite.
Hmm.
And the only other system that I had before that was the Game Boy Advance like years ago. Uh
For those who are young and watching this podcast right now you can see how old we are.
yeah, yeah, like basically everyone, like all of my friends that I knew growing up, just about had Wii's, and I was like the only one who didn't. I did have a DS Lite and some of the more like popular games, but like there were just certain things that I just missed out on that I mean, like granted I sort of I guess like quote unquote caught myself back up on with like watching Let's Plays, but I know this is a side tangent, but yeah, it's I've I've legitimately been thinking about picking up a secondhand Wii or Wii U just so then I can pick up some games that I know they're not going to bring to the Switch. Just so then I can finally play them myself.
Hmm. I mean, what? I mean, what's the list? I'm thinking right now, like Wario, Game and Wario, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Game and Wario, WarioWare, Smooth Moves,
Duh,
the
Mario
first
Party
two Pikmin,
10.
yeah, the first two Pikmin games. Uh,
Yes.
a lot of first-party Wii games are actually available on the Wii U Virtual Console. So, I mean, I can just get a Wii U and get like the Pikmin games and Smooth Moves digitally, as well as Super Paper Mario. Uh, I uh I was basically able to borrow someone's Wii for one summer, and one game that I rented was Super Paper Mario, and I got up to like chapter 4. I was having a good time, but I that was all I could get up to in my time of renting it.
Hmm.
Um those
Were the days?
a what?
Those were the days.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of like other games at this point that I would get. I mean, I'd have to go and look. I mean, I
Hey,
could
bad
also
stream
get
chat.
I could also get the Wii Sports games because
Huh?
I know that they're not going to bring those nor Nintendo Land to the Switch.
Oh, I mean,
I
that's a
guarantee.
shame. That is a shame. I agree.
Yeah, like technically you could get Nintendo Land to work on the Switch. You would just have to require two Switches, one docked,
Yeah.
one in handheld mode, and
Yeah.
that would be too cumbersome unless if there's some sort of like Switch Lite bundle where it's like you get a Switch Lite and a download code for the game that you like put into your regular Switch and then use the Switch Lite basically as the gamepad. But that would be too cumbersome. So like technically it could work. I don't think they're actually going to do it. Even though there are people that are wanting Nintendo Land to come to the Switch. It was built around the gamepad. I'm sorry, another tangent, but
I mean, that's what we are, going off tangents sometimes. But that's fine.
yeah. Ugh.
I mean, then again, it's like I wish also sometimes some Wii games can come back to the Switch, just because that will fit perfectly, and B, I don't think we'll ever see them again. Otherwise,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the
I
sad
mean
thing for me. Oh, go ahead.
like they could do some sort of like at the very least spiritual successor to Wii Sports on the Switch. Of course it couldn't have the same name as Wii Sports, but then I guess New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. Uh, but yeah, I I could definitely see them making some sort of spiritual successor to like Wii Sports on the Switch, especially because with the Joy-Con, you can they're basically tiny Wii remotes.
Pretty much, and
um,
it's so good that it is that way.
Granted, it would basically be unplayable on the Switch Lite or in handheld mode. That would not be great. They would have to kind of retool that for those different
Mm.
control methods because I brought this up in a number of different places before. A Switch game that forces you to play in a particular way is not a good Switch game. uh,
Yeah.
uh, unless if you're doing something in like I don't know Game Builder Garage, with that requires like playing in handheld mode. because I think one of the games that it has you make is like a ball rolling puzzle. I don't know why I say I think. I know for sure because I was watching Stephen and Mel stream it last night. Get Apple now! Number! I I died seeing that.
Oh, Stephen George.
Yeah, although it was Mal who was in control of the game when when they were at that game, so it was all Mal. It was so great.
Oh
Uh
man. Anyways, I
but
what I wanted to say was
regardless,
that what I wanted to
yeah.
say was that. Oh, go ahead. You want to finish your point?
Yeah, the that tutorial game that it has you build in Game Builder Garage, it is a game that is sort of tailored around holding the Switch in handheld mode and like tilting it so it kind of feels like you're holding like an actual like physical thing
Mm,
and moving it.
yeah, it is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, continuing your point of like, well, being behind on consoles. Like for me,
Hmm.
my list of consoles I've ever touched, sorry, old Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance SP, 3DS. You can see the whole jump, and then the Switch.
Hmm.
I honestly missed out on a ton of stuff. I missed out on NCT4. Actually, no, I missed out on every single home console and the DS.
Hmm.
And that really hurt me to an extent because like the DS actually had some pretty decent games I wanted to try. Funny thing as well, the only new Super Mario Brothers I've never played was the original one.
Yeah, and the only one that I haven't played is Wii. So I guess that's another game that I could finally try out if I get a Wii U.
It's funny. The only reason I have 100% of the Wii version is because my university had it.
Oh, oh yeah, I think you talked about that. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
the student lounge that I have in my university allowed renting of games at the time. At the time, by the way, don't worry, they don't allow it because of COVID. Um,
Hmm.
what happened was that the TV was like still like slightly monochrome-ish, but I was still able to play it. I remember I sped run a run first. I think it took me like a 42 minutes to finish the game, 80%, and then afterwards 100% of the game. One sitting, World 1. Another sitting, Worlds 2 to 6. A last sitting, World 7 to 9. And 100% of the game.
Wow.
And honestly, I felt so freaking happy afterwards knowing I finally finished the game. I touched the game, I think, about like 8 years at the time, and I finally actually get the 100% for myself.
Yeah. uh,
But we'll talk about more 100% later on.
hmm.
I think other than that, besides all we just discussed, how much else that we can think of, like for what Nintendo could bring out besides, I guess, indie games and all that shenanigans.
Um, I mean, I guess this is something that people have been speculating for years because it's one of the few first party Nintendo games that is, super that sold super well that got basically no DLC. Mario Odyssey 2.
True. I mean, honestly, I don't really want it because I still haven't touched that game yet, even though I have it in my closet.
Play it.
I, True, I have 4 games to do before I do it.
No worries.
I,
But
I
yeah,
I'm
it's
I'm like thinking about. Don't worry though. I'm thinking about like 75% through Shantae 1. So soon I'm going to receive revenge, but I still have a lot to do.
yeah, yeah, it is. I trying to think back to when I was initially 100%ing the game. It like for the most part, yeah, it was a fun time. Just the process of going back through and 100%ing was little tedious in some regards. Especially if you're taking all the like post-launch uh DLC costumes into account. and how many coins you have to grind to get those. It's, I mean, granted, there are pretty easy ways of getting coins, especially now with Luigi's Balloon World, because it's a legitimately good way of getting coins. But it's still kind of not great. And also, you can't play Balloon World if you're not connected to the internet, because it is an online mode.
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
yeah.
also if you don't, well, actually, it might actually still work if you have Switch Online, but I I think you need Nintendo Online though. But I mean, it's not like it's a problem for you because you're on my you're on my family plan.
I'd like to point out, yeah, that's kind of true because for those wondering, actually, today's the 12th. In 6 days' time, not only is it going to be my birthday, it's actually going to be my Switch's birthday.
Oh wow.
My Switch is going to be 2 years old and still kicking. And also, funny thing as well, it also approached the 2-year anniversary since I got into his account and, joined the Nintendo Switch online service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess that kind of brings up something else. Is what if they announce more stuff, for Switch Online, like N64
Oh,
or GameCube or anything else?
or Game Boy,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, just release all the Game Boy,
Dude, if that happens,
like Game
right,
Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance.
I feel so once that happens, right, everyone's just gonna explode. Because not only
Yeah.
is that hype, but that's technically making the Wii U even more void. Because Virtual Console, not a necessity anymore.
Mm-hmm. Right. It would Game Boy Advance would be great for the sole fact that, possibility of Superstar Saga coming to Switch.
Oh, dude, like that would be cool. That should be
Mm-hmm.
cool to see. Although with save states,
I mean, it was on Wii U Virtual Console with save states,
true,
so
true. You're not wrong to say that.
yeah.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see what will happen if that happens. I mean, dude,
Mm-hmm.
I think even then, any sort of online like console, whether it be N64, GameCube, etc., I think will pretty much get a lot of attention from the gaming communities.
Yeah, yeah. I think people are kind of hungry for more, in terms of Switch Online outside of like Pac-Man 99, which have you gotten a chance to play that yet?
I have, but honestly, I think I touched it once and never touched it again.
I love it for the fact that it's the only battle royale I'm good at, and that I've actually won matches.
Doggone it. Of course.
It like, yeah, I was kind of surprised that, like, even though I didn't spend too much time with Mario 35, because I mean it was limited in nature, so I felt like I was just kind of wasting my time playing it. Even though it was a fun game still. But yeah, I have played a good bit of Pac-Man in my time, so it kind of makes sense that I'd be good at a battle royale Pac-Man.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess.
Also,
Go ahead.
sorry. One more thing is that I love that I love it for the sense that it's really the only battle royale where matches only take 5 minutes.
True, actually. Even if I haven't been playing as much, I will admit that matches can be quite short, and that's actually quite good for a battle royale game. It's short, sweet, and you can play it every time, many times you want without getting bored.
Yeah, you can either play 2 matches or 20. It's really up to you.
Or 99.
Yeah.
99 matches of Pac-Man 99 on the wall, 99 matches of blah blah blah. I just mixed it up already.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that sums up all on Nintendo hopes, which are a lot, considering that really it's the main focus for, I think, for quite some time now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who knows? Maybe the rumors are true and we'll see a new Mario Rabbids.
I I mean, it is basically announced at this point, so it's either going to be in Ubisoft's presentation or Nintendo's, or maybe even both. We'll see.
Maybe both. We'll see. All right.
Mm-hmm.
With all those E3 done, let's just point out that once again, schedule will be probably actually you know what? Hang on. For those watching, I might also post the schedule to you guys. Hang on. Copy. There we go. I'm gonna send it to the chat for anyone who wants to have a look at the schedule, so that you guys can get notified on when the presentations will occur. So heads up that 14 doesn't have any like major company. 15 is Nintendo. 12 is Ubisoft, and 13 is Bethesda and the Microsoft conference.
Mm-hmm.
So stay tuned for that. All right, with all that E3 stuff, I think it's time we move on to other stuff. Some quick ones from the gate. Some quick ones from the gate. Sonic Colors Ultimate, I think, was a big shock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was squealing like a girl in one of my VCs after I saw that.
Oh.
I was giddy, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. It's a game I've never played personally, but I mean, now with hearing over the years how it's actually pretty good, and now that it's, I mean, stupid question. It is coming to Switch, right?
I mean, remember, it's one of the few Sonic games that came off of the Wii.
That's true. Yeah. So.
And remember what the other two games were? Actually, wait, not two, 3 games were.
No, I don't remember.
Secret Rings, Unleashed, which was the other version of Unleashed, and then Black Knight.
Okay. Yeah. So, I've never really played a Sonic game before. Again, something I need to get on. So, maybe this is when I finally dip my toes into the Sonic waters. Either that or just finally get Sonic Mania, or both.
Do you have a... Dude, really? You don't have Sonic Mania?
No. I
Zach.
don't. It's mostly just because I forget that it's a thing.
Dude.
But also other games are.
Wow. Wow. That's a surprise. Oh, man.
Oh.
Well, I think the moral of the story around here is that so many games, not enough time.
Exactly. That's it's actually a video idea that I've had for a while now. Is just with all these games coming out, I barely feel like I have time to play any of them.
And your plights about time constraints. Yeah, I can see that. And I think anyone in this chat or those watching can agree on that.
Yeah.
Man, why so many games? Why? I mean, for me, right? I only have one experience with Sonic Colors, and that was in my nephew's house. And that was it. I'm sorry, not my nephew, my niece. Sorry, excuse me. And I remember only playing, I think, for like 5 to 10 minutes. And honestly, the game itself played quite well. So the fact that I can finally play in full and experience so many good things like, oh, the music is a joy to behold, and I can't wait.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm loading up the eShop right now just to
pre-order.
Well, to see the price of Sonic Mania. Okay.
I think it should be a little bit cheaper now. I actually got my copy of Sonic Mania a little bit cheaper than usual.
Yeah, right now the digital version is its regular price of $20, but I mean, next week is E3. There might be sales that happen because that has been a thing before, that games in related series where like new titles get announced have other games in their series discounted during E3. So I mean, it might be a thing.
That's a good point, yeah.
So good excuse for me to hold off.
I mean, it's not.
and
I mean,
potentially
oh god, oh god.
and potentially get Game Builder Garage because I've been contemplating getting it. I don't know how. I've been debating of like how motivated I am to actually make stuff in it. Granted, there's plenty of people out there making stuff in it, so I could just get it and
Play along.
play other people's stuff. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, I love Mario Maker and I loved Little Big Planet, and I've made a good amount of stuff in both. So I mean, once I get my hands on the tools, I'll probably think of some stuff to make in it. So, probably.
Why so many games?
It's just the thing is that with Mario Golf Super Rush coming out later in the month, I I would rather not spend $90 total on games this month right now. It's not like I'm short on cash right now, but I mean, I am looking at getting my own vehicle. So,
Oh, an actual car?
yes.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. So, I I have my eyes on at least a couple at this point, but still kind of undecided. So, but that's kind of like the first big step that I have to do really in order to um start thinking about getting like an actual like proper job, quote unquote, and uh uh place to live if it's out of this area. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, we'll see what lies ahead of you later on.
Mhm. I mean, the part-time job that I've had for just about this whole past year is actually my highest paying part-time job that I've had. So, I mean, I can get away with buying games here and there.
Yeah,
Which I mean, that's what I've done for years, but still.
make a few
Anyways,
purchases, not too, but not too many.
right. I mean, technically speaking, Game Builder Garage is the better deal because I can play other people's stuff, and that's, you know, basically always going to be happening. But I mean, I've never played any Mario sports game. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, I haven't. So, yeah, there's that, and then Skyward Sword next month.
Oh
So,
yeah, that does come out.
mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Which, it's contentious with a lot of people.
I
And
mean,
how,
we know about the issues, but if they fix it, that might be a plus, and that might actually sell out very, very
right.
well.
Yeah, although they did lock a quality of life feature behind a specific amiibo, which is a little weird. But
Oh,
I mean, it's not like it doesn't seem like the issue that it solves is an incredibly major one. I mean, it seems like you can still play the game without the amiibo. It's not like you need the amiibo to play it. It just makes um traversing the world a little bit easier, but still, why?
uh, uh, why?
It-
The two words that fit so well each other: Nintendo and why.
yeah, yeah. Although I'm still almost assuredly gonna get it because I've never played Skyward Sword, and I've like for as contentious as it's been over the years for being too linear, I feel like and like handholdy at times and stuff. I feel like I still want to play it for myself to really get a gauge. Um, but yeah, it's it's a thing.
It is a thing. Also, like to point
Also,
out.
not
I also like to point out, by the way, just
sorry.
a sidetrack real quick. I'm looking at
Yeah.
my score right now on Bejeweled 2. I'm at 10 million points now.
Nice.
Ugh. You can see the levels I'm at 115. I'm not even halfway, and I'm already at 8 digits. Ugh. There's so much long way to go. Continue.
Um, I know that this was something that a lot of people were wondering about, and I don't think it's really been mentioned. Um, so you know how the game supports both like the control method of Joy-Con in each hand, kind of simulating the Wii Remote and Nunchuck.
Mm.
Um, and how you can still do the motion stuff. And in handheld mode or on the Switch Lite, the motion controls are basically relegated to the right stick.
Mm-hmm.
But people were wondering if that means the game is not going to support Pro Controller. It specifically says on the eShop page that it supports the Pro Controller. So that is not an issue.
Well, that's good. At least they're trying to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that anyone with who use the controls and are able to play it. It's such a game that
Yeah,
and it's for such a game that was so heavily based on motion controls technically.
yeah, it's nice to see that even though the original game was required you to use motion controls, that the remake lets you use basically button stick controls. I was in a I was in a Discord call earlier this week, and the topic of accessibility in games came up, and because I had brought up the I think it's called the Hori Flex controller for the Switch.
Oh.
It basically, if you know of the Xbox adaptive controller, it's basically that for the Switch.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and so we were um because a lot of people in the call a couple people in the call were playing Breath of the Wild. I was thinking like, could you hypothetically use the Hori Flex controller to 100% Breath of the Wild? The answer is you cannot, because there are a number of shrines that require motion controls.
Ah, bummer.
Even if you disable motion aiming in the settings, that's only aiming for like the bow and weapons and stuff. It is uh it is has it doesn't account for the gyro shrines,
I was about to say, with the way
which
you're talking, it's very hard to explain.
yeah, yeah. Basically, yeah, in order to 100% Breath of the Wild, you have to at least use motion controls a little bit. Which, I mean, granted, every Switch comes with controllers that are capable of motion, so for most people that's not an issue. But for people who cannot use regular game controllers and who would benefit from something like the Hori Flex, they themselves cannot fully complete Breath of the Wild with the Hori Flex controller. But granted, Breath of the Wild uses just about every button on the controller, so you would I don't know how comfortable it would be to even just normally play Breath of the Wild with the Flex controller. I mean, some people would probably be able to make it work, but it is just seems a little uh what's the word, like cumbersome maybe.
Hmm.
But I would probably have to get the controller myself and try it out, which is actually something I've considered, is getting that and making stuff using the Flex controller, or that uses the Flex controller in Game Builder Garage. I have a couple ideas for some things that would like use both,
True. That's interesting.
which Yeah, but I don't know if they would actually be doable. I would have to get like a full list of all of the different like nodon that are available in the game to see like could I code the stuff that I'm thinking of. I mean, it's a seems to be quite a powerful tool, so almost assuredly I could do it in some form or another, but probably not very elegantly.
Hmm.
Although, granted, the Hori Flex controller is also does have proper support to be used as a PC controller. So, so if I wanted to, I could also make something in the programming language Scratch because that's really the only programming language I have extensive experience in.
Huh. Interesting. It's
Yeah.
funny that even throughout this, I honestly expected you to say, granted the horror like controller did come after Breath of the Wild. Because
I
technically, if
mean,
you think
yeah.
about it, I don't think the controller was supposed to be made to a have the motion controls and b to be able to play Breath of the Wild perfectly.
Well, I know that. It's just thinking like hypothetically, could you do this?
It's funny
But
that you
also,
say. It's funny that you also said like it's use every single button. Because I could think of this like
Mhm.
Nintendo utilizing every button in the game. What's the sorcery?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, what was I gonna say? But yeah, like maybe someone who hasn't been able to, or like another hypothetical situation, someone who again cannot use regular game controllers, who's been wanting to play the Switch, but just hasn't because um of the way that the controllers are. And then this Flex controller comes out, and they're finally able to play the Switch properly. But and maybe they get excited that like now they finally get to play through Breath of the Wild. But then there's yes, certain shrines that they're just not able to play because they physically cannot use the controller that the system came with. um it just is something that like accessibility was something that I never really thought about until like these past couple years, especially with the Switch, that there needs to be accessibility features with every game. Like it's fine if there are some parts that use motion controls, but have the motion controls be optional. That's what Origami King did, is
Hmm.
that you could straight up turn off motion controls, and even though I can physically use motion controls, I didn't really like the way that they were implemented. They just kind of felt forced. So I just turned them off, and I was still able to play the whole game that way.
You know what else at least was they you know what other games you can also turn off the motion controls on?
But
Clubhouse games, darts and bowling.
that's true, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
technically, and honestly, this is kind of nice. You can actually just use your finger.
Yeah, if you're playing in handheld mode. Um I guess there's really no good way to implement like bowling or dart controls with
For
with
bowling,
just
I think
buttons.
PBA 2021 will tell you otherwise.
Oh,
Yeah, that game actually came out recently, and I believe that claims to have some of the best and most realistic bowling physics and like bowling mechanics ever.
okay.
So maybe,
Interesting.
yeah, so maybe they could prove you wrong, but I haven't actually seen the game yet.
Yeah, yeah, but still, yeah, it is a thing.
Surely is a thing. uh, man, like how we've gone from Sonic all the way to kind of topic of motion controls.
Yeah, motion controls and accessibility.
This is where you can go with the Bejeweled podcast. Um,
Hmm.
Next up the topic, and this one's actually going to be quite quick. Hashtag Dragon Quest 25. Because this year marks 35 years since the first Dragon Quest came out in 1986. Honestly, I don't think either of us have that much of Dragon Quest experience, so we're gonna make this short.
Yeah, I've never played Dragon Quest.
So yeah, we're mostly gonna make this like section short, but I'm also gonna ask you first, like, what's your experience with Dragon Quest, at least seeing it?
um, I saw some like commercials about what is it, like Sentinels of the Starry Sky or whatever it was called on the DS, and like that's the extent of my experience with Dragon Quest.
You never actually like seen that people play it yet?
Barely.
Oh yikes!
Yeah, I mean it's something that like it's a traditional RPG, and I have thoughts about traditional RPGs. uh I can only really stomach certain kinds of RPGs, namely ones that are styled like Mario and Luigi, Paper Mario, Bug Fables. Um yeah, it's
Can someone put a Bug Fables counter in the comments below, please?
yeah. Yeah, it's like this is something that I've wanted to make a video on for years, and at this point I've talked about it to enough people to where it's like I don't really need to make the video at this point, but still I want to make it just out of principle, I think, even though it's too bad that I did not count. Yeah. Um yeah,
I make comments on YouTube, Patrick, so you can do that on your own time.
mhm. Yeah, like I guess now that I'm thinking about it, it is a number of things that irk me about regular RPGs that the types of RPGs that I mentioned before basically fix, but just haven't been implemented in a lot of other RPGs. I guess namely like random encounters. Those have never been a thing in those games because you can see enemies on the overworld, and also, I mean, I ain't doing that again after the Mount Moon counter.
It's funny because in my latest like session, I already went to Mount Moon. Card up here as well. Up there. There you go.
Ah, yeah, random encounters. But namely, the battle systems.
Hmm.
I do not like the battle systems for most RPGs, in the sense that you're basically just picking an option from a menu and hoping that the computer doesn't screw you over with bad RNG. Whereas in, Paper Mario, Mario and Luigi, Bug Fables, you're actually pressing buttons
Super Mario RPG.
to make the attacks work.
Super Mario RPG.
It's
Sonic Chronicles of Dark Brotherhood. Wait, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's another game I've really never played is Mario RPG, just because I've just never had a system that can play it.
It's definitely a little bit hard to get that game, honestly.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's basically the gist of why I don't like most RPGs.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely a little bit. I can see why it's definitely a little bit hard to stomach at times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like when the first RPG that I ever played through was Bowser's Inside Story, yeah, I have particular taste when it comes to RPGs now.
Even Pokemon?
Oh, yeah, like a year or two after I finished Bowser's Inside Story, I got my hands on a copy of Ruby. I could barely stomach the game after the first gym.
Uh,
Yeah, it
not just
like
not a fan of the random encounters.
that, and also the battle system, like what I just said.
I mean, the former at least
um,
they fixed in Gen 8, where at least counters you can pick your encounters instead.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
but then also the battles basically come down to essentially placing an order at a fast food restaurant and hoping they don't screw up your order.
I mean, you're not wrong to say that. That's a sad thing. I can't disagree with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Uh, weird analogy that works. For me, when it comes to Dragon Quest, I would say like the only first time I ever heard it was like what you said through Fortune Street through the Runaway guys. That was when
Mm-hmm.
I actually understood that Dragon Quest actually existed, and that's when I actually found out about the series. Then, of course,
Yeah.
Hero for Dragon Quest came for Smash. That was the second thing, and afterwards it really was just knowing that Square Enix thought that'd be a great idea to have Final Fantasy characters in. Sorry. When they continue their Final Fantasy, when they continue their Fortress Street series, with Final
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy characters as well for the PS4. That was the only extent I
Mm-hmm.
have with knowing Dragon Quest.
Mm-hmm.
I'll admit that
Yeah.
at the time, I remember I was with my friends and the Dragon Quest 35 presentation was going on. I remember that I was just scrolling through and skimming through the video, just in vain hope for a Fortress Street game,
Yeah.
but it never came out.
It's like, even though I personally have never played Dragon Quest, like it I would still be excited for the people who care about it. It's yeah.
Mm.
Sorry. I I've just started playing New Super Mario Brothers U just halfway through halfway through the podcast, so if yeah.
If you see your eyes, if you see his eyes like redirected somewhere, you know where.
Mhm. Also, side note counter. Side note, this is like Wednesday, Thursday, like the third or fourth day in my like little personal 30-day challenge where I'm not having caffeine because I realized I was kind of having a lot of, especially coffee, and so I've just been sort of like resetting my body. And oh my gosh, I actually feel like I properly wake up. It is insane. Like, you think caffeine makes you wake up? No. At least for me, it doesn't. It just gives a false sense of being awake.
Hmm. I can see where you're
Ugh.
coming from with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I found out that there's a lot of YouTube videos out there about why caffeine, well, specifically caffeine in coffee. Not that there's anything special about the caffeine that's in coffee, just the fact that there's a lot of caffeine in coffee. How it can actually negatively impact even like your sleep if you're like more or less regardless of when you consume it. It's um a long explanation that I'll just say there's a wealth of information on YouTube about it. Anyways,
I mean, yeah, you can tell it's a bit hard. You can tell that experience with Dragon Quest is not that much when we are talking like this. But
yeah.
hey, it's one of those things where we can't really get into every franchise easily. Like for me, what really turned me off for Dragon Quest is honestly just the battle mechanics did not really seem like fitting for me. As someone who grew up with
Hmm.
Pokemon mostly, despite mainly being a blame bloomer on that, um, I've gotten so used to it already to where honestly I don't really feel like going to a new RPG series. which also explains why I wasn't really into Final Fantasy as well, by the way.
Oh,
But yeah,
yeah.
but of course now I've been trying out the Final Fantasy series. In fact, I still have to do the Final Fantasy 2 playthrough that I promised.
Mm.
But I still have some other stuff that I'm doing. Good news is that once I have my Pokemon Let's Plays done, and then the next Let's Play I actually have already planned done, Final Fantasy 2 should be my main focus alongside my side stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, as I said, I want to make this just short and sweet because honestly, we don't really have much to talk about in terms of Dragon Quest since we can't really say that much about it.
Mm-hmm. Is it fine if I go use the bathroom quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While you do that, I'll probably just talk some housekeeping.
Okay.
Yeah. So while Jose goes to the loo, just a little bit of housekeeping as a heads up because I need to mention a few things. Once again, next week is a break week for me. I will not be streaming for this next week. I will mostly be either A, recording some Pokemon stuff, B, recording some Fortress Street stuff with Yosh, and C, I actually am planning to finally get an Xbox One wired controller, just so I can play Mario Party and some other games with the rest of the crew in CGP. I do plan to do those kind of content as well on my channel because now with Parsec, it's quite easy to be able to stream some stuff or record some stuff for you guys. And it's something that I've really been wanting to do for quite some time. The lack of controller is actually the reason why I have not been able to produce such content. Because most of the games that those guys play, like Mario Party, Smash Brothers, Melee, Mario Kart, all require a controller, and I actually don't own one. But thanks to Ghost of Riddles, he actually recommended me getting an Xbox One wire controller, so I might actually get that next week. And then I'll be able to finally test it out, play with the rest, and actually finally record some stuff for you guys, because I ain't done with content, side content on my channel. I have a lot of stuff I plan to do. Mario Kart Double Dash, Mario Party 4 to 7, 1 to 3 we can, and some more stuff on the way. But yeah, that's pretty much the extent of what I hope to do for you guys in this coming week. Second thing to housekeeping the notes, because of the break, I'll admit that I have not been recording much of a Pokemon Black 2 Randomness. I hope to record an episode soon. Hopefully the emulator will work well on my OBS when recording. I hope that it won't affect the frame rate too much. And fingers crossed, episode should be coming out next week. I do have uploads for this week being uploaded right now from my Twitch to YouTube right now, so I'm gonna have to edit it soon. So hopefully I'll be able to get that done by tomorrow. I definitely have a lot of work to do to an extent. And last bit of housekeeping I'd like to point out. What was it? Oh yeah, the SMC3 tournament. Heads up, my out button seems to be fine, so I think it shouldn't be too much of a problem that I continue on with the tournament. And I will make sure 100% I do not delay it just because for my own sake. That would be unfair for those of the rest of the people in the tournament, and I want to make sure that I make it such as fair of an environment as possible, especially for the first tournament I'm ever hosting. Not only for my channel, but also for the Classic Gaming Grand Prix and Logan Hearts Arcade. So yeah, that's pretty much all the housekeeping I would just like to mention for now, and I hope to be able to bring more content to you guys in the future. Also, I see you're back.
Yes.
Oh, and also, one thing of housekeeping, top 4 have been decided. I'll make an announcement video about that on LHA and CGP soon. Alright, with all that said, that's all the main topics. Now to our own topics. You got yours ready?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll go into mine straight away because we did mention a few times. My topic is any percent versus 100%. For me, I realized that as I was playing Shantae, that some games are a lot more fun when any percenting compared to others, and other games are much more fun when you're 100% in the game than others. And it's to the point where I was just wondering, what are the games that we know? What are some of the most common games that we know that suffer by that? Like, are there any games that we know that 100%ing is just a chore to do. Like, I don't know, collecting all 901 proxies. Or,
Yeah, I mean,
or,
there's that.
or are they games where if you 100% it's a lot more fun? Like, I don't know, Super Metroid 100%ing all of the items, locations in that game.
Or basically any uh any 3D Mario game,
Yeah. I mean,
except maybe Sunshine.
yeah, but, duh, come on, like, that's a grind. But that's probably one of
Yeah.
the just bring up to the table to see what we can discuss on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you know any other games
I
that could be good with any percenting than 100% thing?
um since I'm playing my Switch, let me pull up my game list here.
I almost have taken the
Uh,
same Miss Super Meat Boy,
mm,
but that's like an obvious pick.
yeah. Um, I mean, with some games, I guess comes the question of what exactly do you consider to be 100%? Like in the case of something like Splatoon, do you stop just at the single player campaigns, or do you max out all of your weapons, get rank X? Like, do you consider that 100%?
Yeah, level
I mean, it would,
199, complete all of the alternate weapon challenges. Yeah,
yeah, like, I guess something like that would vary from person to person. Um, Although there are some things like, 3D Mario games, or what I have my cursor on right here, Spyro. That's kind of a game that's more or less built around 100%ing it. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I guess it depends, yeah, from game to game, but also from person to person, what they consider to be 100% and where they sort of draw that line of like, I've gotten my enjoyment out of this game. I don't care to lose my sanity getting all the Korok seeds. I'm I'm content with putting this down at least for a while.
true.
Although, yeah, there's a lot of people like us that do find that enjoyment from 100%ing a game, and especially with with me, going back and playing a game that I've already 100%ed, and playing it completely through again. Like, I kid you not, I've played through Bowser's Fury almost 10 times at this point to 100% because it's just so fun.
Dang.
Yeah, it's just so short, bite-sized, and like there have been some days where like I was able to 100% it in like a long afternoon. So,
Dang.
it's I say that, and that's what I've switched to now. So,
Of course.
uh, yeah.
I mean, for me, I said I haven't even played the game yet, so it's like one of those things where I just hear like, that's actually kind of interesting. But hey,
hmm
it's funny
Have
that you
you
actually. It's funny that actually I want to bring up real quick. You did say some games are built around 100%. What do you mean by that?
where it's yeah, how can I describe this? Basically, the game has um certain systems and structure in place to where it encourages you to 100% it. Like with Spyro, the Reignited trilogy specifically, it gives you percentage trackers on all three games as to how much of them you've completed. And then there are the lists in each game for each of the different areas that shows you not only the percentage of how much you've collected in that area, but also a tracker for how many gems you've collected in an area, as well as any other collectibles. Like, it basically just gives you a checklist of everything you can collect. Yeah, and also, excuse me, in at the very least in the Reignited trilogy, I don't know if this was a thing in the original games, but excuse me, in the Reignited trilogy, you can click one of the sticks to have your um to have Sparks, your little dragonfly buddy that shows you how much health you have. He will point to the general area of where a collectible is. Or yeah, and so like all these little things that are in place, it kind of encourages you to just go for 100% if there's already all these little things that help you keep track of everything that you've collected. It just makes the collection process so much easier and more inviting.
Mm, funny when you say
That
that, because
that
like, I'm just thinking like, I honestly when I hear like built around 100%, I'm thinking like, oh, simple, easy, not too complicated of 100%. Because when you say checklist, right, the first thing I thought of was Sonic Advance 3. As someone who has 100% the game before and actually has managed, I'm not kidding, a sub 2 100% run of Sonic Advance 3,
huh.
it's not easy. As someone who has
Hmm.
to memorize all 70 child placements in that game,
Ooh.
and then what makes it worse is memorizing all 7 like special stage like arrangements, especially the last special stage, because that's a hassle to get all the enough
Hmm.
rings to get the Chaos Emerald. It's not easy to 100% the game, and I can say for certain that even though it's fun for me, it's not fun for a new speedrunner.
Right.
It's a chore, honestly, just to 100% the game in itself, let alone speedrun it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
Clement J64
it's a
puts it
thing.
perfectly when he said that it's not fun when back in the days when the Game Boy Advance did not have like the light up screen that the SP version had, and you're trying to find
Ooh.
Chao in a very dim background, and sometimes you
Hmm.
think you can't see what's below, you're not sure if that's a pitfall or not. You try going down there, it's a pitfall, you lose a life, you get frustrated.
Yeah, and it's out of no fault on the player's end because they're the Game Boy the screen of the Game Boy the screen of the original Game Boy Advance is just so not good. It's I know this as it was my first console ever. It was terrible. It it was harder to see than the Game Boy Color's screen.
Yeah, but, yeah,
It's
but
it was just awful.
I can't disagree on that.
Yeah, that's that's why I've thought about getting my hands on a secondhand Game Boy Advance and doing one of those like backlit screen mods because it seems like those are getting easier and easier to do. But the thing is like outside of like a couple certain games, most games that I would be playing on there, I can play in another form on another system because this the system's library was decently reliant on ports and remakes. Switch. Um,
I mean, to be fair,
although,
when you have a Switch Online, like what's that feature, which allows you to play very old games with save states, I think we can see that
mhm,
100% is a lot easier than before.
yeah, yeah, but also a lot of the ports and remakes on Switch legitimately add like extra content and refine some things here and there. It depends on the game, but they're they do add some certain things. Although I okay, I guess like in the case of the Super Mario Advance games, like they did add a fair yeah, fair amount of things to um m- make it a little easier, like actually good save systems for some of the games and save systems at all. Like in the case of Mario 3.
Oh yeah,
Like mhm.
Problem is, I never knew
Although,
about it because my version of Super Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario Brothers 4, Super Mario Brothers 3 doesn't save.
ooh,
It was
although,
honestly you
oh,
could just call it a Japanese demo cartridge.
interesting. Although, in the case of like, the Switch Online membership, every game has suspend points, so that's basically a save system. So
Yeah,
it,
I'm gonna make sure to show you guys what I mean. You can continue the conversation.
hmm oh, what was I gonna say? Yeah, in the case of um the Mario World remake, they added trackers to actually keep track of what dragon coins you collect, because that was not a thing at all in the original game. And so they actually added trackers in the GBA remake, and they actually uh show a little like congratulatory screen if you collect all the dragon coins. So there is actually incentive to collect them. I'm talking about how in the GBA remake of Mario World, how they
Hmm.
added the trackers for the dragon coins,
Oh yeah, they
which
did.
that yeah, which yeah, that wasn't a thing in the original game. So that does help with the completion process if you're going about that.
Of course, the one perk is
Because
that if you think about it, they added that as 100% requirement.
hmm yeah, in the original game, getting all the dragon coins just gave you an extra life. It did nothing else.
Yeah. Now it's actually required. Of course, now like if you think
hmm
about it, in Super Mario Advance, Super Mario 2, technically they did add the A coins as a collectible, and they not only keep it one up, but it's also for progress sakes as well.
hmm oh, what's coming to mind
But
is oh yeah,
yeah, this is the
with
version. As I said before, even if I load this in right, what happens is that there's no saving inside. I can't even save anything inside this.
that is weird. Um, with the yeah, with that well no, it was the um Mario 3 remake on Game Boy Advance. There were a whole like load of levels that were only accessible with e-reader cards,
Yep,
and those were not accessible here in the States, but in the Wii U Virtual Console release of all things,
yep.
those were just included. So I guess that's another reason for me to get a Wii U is for those levels.
To be fair,
Oh.
most of the levels are there. Are some of the levels are like just original levels, like Mario Bros. 1 and 2, and
Mm-hmm.
the Super Mario 3 randomizer, for those who are in the know about it, has actual unused levels.
Hmm.
That might interest you as well.
Interesting. But yeah, like they those remakes did add quite a bit of content to those games that I think a lot of people just kind of forget about.
Hmm.
Um but
It's funny though, like, as someone who lives outside of USA, right, the perk of it is sometimes I can get some very, quote unquote, interesting collection stuff. Like,
mhm.
let me just show you guys, an exclusive GBA game that I own that I don't think many own. In fact, I think it's actually in my Game Boy Advance pouch. There it is. It's either in the, I think it's somewhere in right here. Oh, there it is. Found it. Funny thing enough is that I think this game might actually become vintage and very high price if it turns out that way. But I actually own the Japanese only Bomberman Jetters
Ooh.
for Game Boy Advance. Don't know how, but this game actually is quite well known. Think of
Hmm.
it as a like celebration of the previous Bomberman games because it has like collectibles where you basically like see the history of Bomberman. Basically,
Okay.
it's kind of just
Interesting. Hmm. I uh again, a game that I really haven't played much of. um Even though there is Super Bomberman R on Switch.
true. Yeah,
So I think that was a launch game for the system even. So
yeah, it was. It
uh
was. It's still very
mhm.
good. It's a very good game, honestly.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's just what I want to bring up. My Game Boy Advance collection is actually quite interesting. I have like some interesting classics. Like I have Ice Climber on my Game Boy Advance.
Oh, like was it one of those like re-releases of the NES game?
Well, yeah, basically, actually, we'll show you. I think I have it. Yeah, it's right here. Basically, it was a series called the Classic NES series, and what the
Mhm.
Nintendo I think did was that they ported all of them to the Game Boy Advance. So here's one of them I own.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah,
Mhm.
I actually have a legit high score on this. This one had no save states. I think it was like 356,000, and I'm pretty proud of that score. Ice Climb is not an easy game.
Nice.
But yeah,
Nice.
that's it. It's quite interesting to see how well they evolve with these consoles. But
Yeah.
anyways, back to the matter at hand, though. I guess any other games that are better, 100% it. Honestly, I would say New Super Brothers U would be okay. Reason why I say this, like, if you
Yeah.
compare that to the rest of the New Super Brothers games, U is actually quite tame.
Yeah.
Of course, if you want to
Yeah.
consider only the story campaign, because I know that sex applied with the other modes.
Yeah. Just 3 words. Don't touch anything. We'll leave it at that. It, it, Not really. Basically, yeah. In the challenge mode, um, there's uh a 5-star challenge, 5-star difficulty challenge called "Don't Touch Anything." You have to run through a course without touching enemies nor coins. And yeah, in order to get gold rank, which is what I did on all the challenge mode stages in NSMBU Deluxe, yeah, I did it without hitting anything. It, no joke, took 20 hours of attempts to do, but I did it. Uh, yeah, it was a thing.
He's
It
dedicated.
was
I'll
a
just say it
thing.
now. He's dedicated.
Yeah, I mean, when you're on, winter break from college and you're like sick for half of the break, like this was pre-pandemic, uh, and you have nothing else to do, why not lose more of your sanity?
I mean, not a bad idea. And not the best manner to
Yeah,
be in to do it.
yeah, if you're already sick and is kind of understandable that you'll just kind of be laying in bed anyways, why not just,
Being all loopy.
yeah. Although it's kind of funny when I was doing that, basically all of my attempts were done docked with a pro controller. My my successful attempt was in handheld mode.
For crying out loud.
Like just suddenly I just try doing that and it's like, well, I do it after 1 or 2 tries.
Were you angry yourself when that happened?
No, I was kind of expecting it, to be honest.
It's like, of course, the one
Um
time I do it, do on another system, it actually works. Another way, I should say.
yeah. Mhm. I mean, granted, lot of my gaming experience has been with handhelds, so it kind of makes sense that I would be more used to a handheld form factor with games. Um, like I'm more used to playing Smash Brothers on 3DS than I am any other form factor.
Ah,
It's to the point where whenever I would uh play Smash at one of my friends at the time's house, um I would use my 3DS as a controller. And partially because any other controllers really that they had just weren't that great, but
that's understandable. I mean, for I myself, right? I remember like when I was playing like Smash Wii U, I honestly couldn't really get like, or ultimately for that matter, I honestly really struggled trying to get into it because it was mostly all just console. So
Mhm.
for someone who has mostly grew up with handheld most of his life, it was a little bit hard for me to understand the buttons, how to control. If you think about it, you're looking at two
Yeah.
things at the same time. You're looking up on the screen and down on your controller at the same time. Not the easiest thing to do. Handheld, however, you're literally looking at both at the same
Yeah.
time with a very small screen. So it's a small window, basically, of looking. It's a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a thing that if if you haven't grown up with handheld gaming is just something that you don't really get, but for those of us that have, it's a yeah, it's a thing.
It is definitely a thing.
That's why it's why for years whenever I did play a game on a console, it it legitimately felt weird because I wasn't looking at the same thing that I was holding. So it was something that just threw me off whenever I was playing a console game. But now after, having more and more experience with consoles over the years, and now that I've had the Switch for years, it's just something that I don't really think about.
Hmm.
um,
I mean, for me, I will say,
yeah,
for me, honestly, I dare say I probably will never get used to console gaming because, like, I just grew up with handheld most of my life.
yeah, yeah. It's I do think I prefer handheld gaming, like even just out of the scope, or not even considering the fact that I grew up with handheld gaming. I just enjoy the the whole vibe of handheld gaming more than console. Are you okay?
Back in my day, the screen and the controls were just an inch apart. We never had those 2 meter wide screens. Anyways, that's what I was laughing at.
Yeah.
Uh, anyways, yeah, it's just interesting to see the comparisons between like playing a game 100% compared to a game playing like but 80%. Honestly, I think I will make that the question of the podcast. Tell us like your games that you say 100% is better than any percent, or vice versa.
Yeah.
We would love to hear your opinions about it, and who knows, maybe we could give you a shout out. Anyways, Giles, like, we only have 18 minutes. I think there should be enough time for your topic.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think my topic is that lengthy anyways, but I guess back on the topic of the Switch, you know about the recent 12.0.3 update that kind of made it of- about well the excuse me about how the 12.0.3 update has basically made it impossible for some people to download games.
Huh?
Basically, there's an error with the update that for people who um downloaded the update before they took it down and uh realized that there was an error with it. Basically, with the 12.0.3 update, at least when it first came out, it wasn't letting people download games. And granted, it was taken down for a day, and an actual like proper uh build of the update is out, but I am one of the couple people who did download that initial update, and like I've downloaded a couple things since then, and really I only have to like hit re-download like once, because at first it'll come up with an error message, but after I tell it to just try downloading again, it will work. So I mean, it really hasn't affected me even that at all. But I know for some people, like a few, like select handful of people, it's just not letting them download games at all.
That's
I'm
very
pretty
good.
sure.
I assume that's even till now.
Probably, yeah.
Oof. I actually haven't like known about this problem because I think the last time I downloaded something was, let me think about this. I believe it was, wait, no, that's not. Wait, was it the original Shantae? I think it was. Yeah, actually, yeah, it was the original Shantae that was the last I downloaded, but that was like a few weeks ago before that update. So ever since then,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've actually caught notice of the fact that downloading games was a hassle.
Yeah, yeah. It, what was I gonna say? Yeah, like at at first when I noticed that it was happening for me, um, like it straight up just wasn't letting me download anything until I rebooted my Switch, in which case then it started to let me download stuff again. But still, it's kind of weird that that happened. But also, like, okay, a few months ago, 12.0 came out, like Switch, the Switch OS 12.0 came out, and like with it being a completely new numbered update like that, it just didn't add anything, which typically the big number updates like that do.
Hmm.
And so I guess the question of what is a system feature or system features that you would want to see added to the Switch?
Uh,
Outside of themes or home menu customization, because I feel like that's been a dead horse that's been beaten for years that I've admittedly beaten myself, but
I mean, I kind of disagree on that. Like, I myself have been wondering whether they'll ever make like have or like new themes, because every time I just like,
hmm
wait, Patrick, who did a Jacksepticeye eye impression, me or Jaozak?
because I don't think I did one.
If it was me, then you're welcome. I actually
Yeah.
know the accent because like I remember like Proton John does it a lot, and I honestly I like it.
hmm Top of the morning, ladies. There's no one
Man.
at home, so I can yell.
It's midnight, so I can't yell. Um,
hmm
it's me, yeah. He's probably referencing what I just now said. You're
Yeah.
welcome, Patrick.
hmm
But yeah, what were we talking about again? Oh yeah, features.
It's home menu features
I mean,
on the
I
Switch,
guess.
or just system features in general. Ri
um,
yeah. I mean, I did lean away from the mic, but I'm sorry if that still ruptured your eardrums.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't see any need for the Switch like software to be updated too much, other than like what you said, new themes. I guess
hmm
maybe honestly, I felt like the Nintendo Switch Online button was somewhat unnecessary, but maybe that's just me. Because I found it was just
Yeah.
only a way for you to
Yeah.
just update yourself. Oh, this is when you download the thing. Make sure to update.
hmm Yeah.
It's also mostly just a promotion button. It's like, hey, do you know that with Nintendo Switch Online you can download this? And I'm like, dude,
Right.
I'm
And
not interested,
yeah.
or B, I already have this downloaded.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, yeah. I'm just sort of scrolling through here as to like what um what new like little features they could add. Um, like it was well over a year ago they added the custom button mapping, which I think is a great feature, except it's only limited to official Joy-Con and Pro controllers.
Oh, oof.
Yeah, you can't even temporarily change the button configurations for like a third-party wired controller or whatever.
What?
Yeah, it's dumb. Um, even though you can save button mappings um to like for later use if you want to set up a certain button mapping, but then um if you have no need for it at the moment, you can save it for later.
Hmm.
And you can also even name them at this point, I think. Um,
Interesting.
yeah.
I mean,
Um,
someone who doesn't really use the menu too much, I don't actually use like the custom mapping, honestly. So it's kind of interesting to hear that that
mhm.
actually exists.
Yeah, yeah. It was actually a very notable feature when it came out because it was something that hasn't been done ever on a Nintendo system, and it's been a thing on you know everything else. So if you don't like the button mapping for a game, you can change that. Um,
Oh, okay. Actually, no, that makes sense, and also that's kind of cool.
yeah.
Actually, that's actually pretty good for like NES and SNES Online because like if you're not comfortable with the buttons they give
Hmm.
you can switch it to something you're comfortable with.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think even let me pull this up in the settings. I'm pretty sure you can more or less force a yeah, you can basically force the Joy-Con to act as if it's being used on its side. If you're playing a game that doesn't let you do that, you can change the stick orientation
Ooh.
to basically have it be reverse of whatever it is. So if um if you're playing a game with, two Joy-Con and you have the stick orientation um change set to on for the right stick, then it will act as if you are holding it on its side. And then you can remap all the buttons to act as if you're playing it on its side. Which, I mean, it's not a lot of games necessarily force um to Joy-Con like this, but I mean, it's nice for the handful of games that do.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, I guess there are a good number of games that do force you, but if you have an app, it, excuse me, if you have an afternoon to waste, why not try playing The Witcher with a single Joy-Con?
If you're bored.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of an interesting
Um.
challenge nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. I think one thing that they like did a half step implementation with that I think they should do like a full step with is transferring your pictures and videos that you take with the capture button. Um, with a system update that came out like later last year, I'm pretty sure. Now you can either like it gives you the option to transfer pictures or video to your phone with a QR code, or if you want to access all of your screenshots and video, um, you can plug your Switch into your computer with a USB-C cable, and access everything that way. This is assuming if you don't have an SD card that you're saving your captures onto, because if those of us that have SD cards, we've been able to do that forever. Just
Oh
turn off the
wait.
switch,
So
plug the
USB-C from
SD
my
card in.
wait. You're saying from my USB-C from my Switch to my laptop is possible?
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
So like, I have um like the USB-C to USB-A power cord that came with my phone. I tried that when the update came out, worked perfectly.
It's funny because
So,
remember, I'm thinking for those who know about my woes with the dock not working anymore. I actually am now using an USB-C like to charge my Switch.
mm-hmm.
Problem is honestly that if I had known that you can actually use an USB-C to charge your Switch, I wouldn't have used my dock that much.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's still kind of a nice little docking station, just to put it charging anyways. It kind of reminds me of when the first 3DS came out, how that came with a charging cradle that whenever you're not playing it, you just put it in there. So you can basically treat the Switch dock as the same thing. It's just an easy way to put it charging.
I guess. I mean, for me, honestly, I wouldn't have used it because, like, I will admit that the high amount of usage I had on my dock through the 35-hour marathon was taking a bit of a toll on the dock itself, and I think that might be the reason why, well, burnt.
Yeah,
That's why it's kind of a bummer
that's
now knowing I could have just used something else. But oh well, live and learn.
yeah,
Also, yes,
yeah.
I just said
I
live and
mean,
learn, Sonic.
mm-hmm. I mean, if there is an updated Switch model that gets announced within the next couple months, then I guess that's a reason for you to upgrade.
Wait, say that again?
Well, just that like if hypothetically there's a new Switch model that gets announced, then you
Oh,
have all the more reason to get one.
yeah, I will see. I mean, here's the thing, though. I did mention during the housekeeping part that I do plan to get an Xbox One wire controller for gaming with my friends, because that can be plugged to my
Oh,
laptop.
nice.
That can be plugged to my laptop, and I actually can play with my friends through that.
Mm-hmm. That reminds me. For the longest time, ever since the initial stream that TRG did when they celebrated their 10th birthday, I've kind of wanted to load up one of the N64 Mario parties and play it with other people over Parsec. Just because I've
I'm
never
also using
played
Parsec, by
any
the
of them
way.
before. What?
I also tend to use over Parsec because I see my friends playing like a lot of Mario Kart Double Dash, Mario Party 1 to 7, Kirby Air Ride. Fun fact.
Mm,
And honestly, I want to join them, and my friend Ghost of Riddles actually recommended me a Xbox One wire controller because that's probably the most compatible to my Windows 10 laptop.
yeah, yeah. I use a wired 360 controller, and that works great.
Is the D-pad bad on
So
it though?
it's not great, but the games that I typically play with it are don't require it.
Okay, that's good. I mean, soon enough,
Yeah.
I might get one like Xbox One, and honestly, the D-pad there is a lot better. I heard, and consider the
Yeah,
fact you're
it
playing,
is.
and I consider there's a few games that require the D-pad later on in Mario Party 1 to 7. It might be useful.
Hmm.
I hope I
Yeah.
can learn. I also can finally also learn how to properly button mash. Because honestly, the only button mashing I've ever done ever was I think about it. Wait, actually, what was the last time I button mashed in the game? Okay, actually, I'm blanking out right now.
Oh,
Yeah, actually, I don't even know the last game I ever button mashed.
I know the answer for me, and that's Bug Fables. Because there are
What's the
some,
counter?
yeah, there are some special attacks that require you to mash buttons.
Yeah.
So
Uh, Still though, like I
it's
can't wait to finally be able to play with the rest of my friends in the CGP. Oh, so let me just
hmm
quickly check something.
yeah, like it is actually pretty cool that you can hook up like the official like Joy-Con and Pro controller to like a computer over Bluetooth, but with the Joy-Con it's a little weird because they're treated as, two separate input devices. So unless if you have an adapter that because there are like wireless adapters out there that will take the input of both and turn it just into one controller input for PC, but that's not necessarily an out of the box experience.
Mm, yeah, that's kind of true.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, but it's still kind of neat that you can do it though.
it is very neat.
Yeah, I've used my Pro controller to play some emulators before.
Mm. I mean, I actually got the experience to do such a thing, so soon enough, I will have the opportunity to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, anyways, yeah, that's well, actually we're about to approach the 2 hour mark, which is nice. I just checked the schedule
Mm-hmm.
for those wondering. The first part will be E3 pre-show at 1 p.m. Eastern time, so not much going on. But afterwards will be the Ubisoft presentation.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You said that that's in an hour, or that
uh,
that's at one. I mean, sorry.
Ubisoft is in 3 hours time, I think. Let me check. Yeah, Ubisoft is in 3 hours time.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So not that long, but do know that E3 is coming. I'll probably be asleep for most of the presentations, admittedly. But I hope you guys will have fun with seeing the brand new games. I actually did ask Giles like earlier. We are intending to do another podcast 2 weeks time to discuss not only E3 like outcomes, but also some other stuff. In fact, I'll just say it right now. Next time we meet, I'll be just bringing back the discussion of Mario Maker 2 versus Mario Maker 1 because I watched a video of someone's rant about how Mario Maker 2, in his opinion, was worse than Mario Maker 1. And he has brought up some interesting pointers I wouldn't mind asking you about.
Okay. Is the creator of that video, does it happen to be Sieve Gaming? Because I'm pretty sure. I'm
Hang
pretty
on.
because I do watch him here and there, and I'm pretty sure he did make a video about that.
What's his name again?
Sieve, Ceave Gaming.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Then I know exactly. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We can
Yeah,
talk about
I
that.
don't mind bringing back that
And
conversation because honestly, A, it's been a while since we talked about it, and B, it's kind of interesting considering that, really, like, I never thought that someone actually said that Mario Maker 2 is worse in his opinion, but
mhm.
conversation just
and
came up.
and as someone that has extensive experience with the 3DS port of Mario Maker 1, I can bring sort of its qualities to the table. Like it does actually legitimately have like one or two actually pretty genius ideas, but there are things that people don't talk about. But I mean, that's a discussion for another time.
Uh,
And by another time, I mean 2 weeks.
yeah, 2 weeks ago, I also said, well, we'll probably discuss E3 like outcomes, Mario Maker 2 versus Mario Maker 1 Redux, and some other stuff that we'll probably bring up. Although most of it will be E3 because honestly, I think we probably have a lot to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the podcast once again. If you've enjoyed, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more content, subscribe to Gyrozek through his YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, and ring that bell to get notified of any upload I make on our channels. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, but remember, the adrenaline rush is real. This is the Evan 421 signing out, and we'll catch you guys on the next podcast. Peace.
Goodbye. Play Bug Fables.